You know, inspiration really can come from anywhere. It's funny. Um, you can get an idea from just about anywhere you look if you're just looking, with the right frame of glasses, right? If you're looking through the right frames. I'm not good at the sayings. I'll try to be, but I'm not very much good with, too many philosophical sayings. I like to make my own that people don't understand and all that shit. But I will say this. Today, when rummaging through some things, I did eventually get my idea as to what video I was going to make today. Because, as I promised, last night's review of the Sonic movie will be the last review of the Sonic movie. No matter, there are some things that I left out, such as, oh, well, he was chased from Paris to China to Egypt. But other than that, I'm not going to touch on that movie anymore. What I was going to talk about today is, I guess, I really want to say the disgrace, right? The disgrace that is this. But I don't want to seem too snobby and neckbeardy about DC because, well, DC was never really my favorite. But I will say this. No matter what you like, at some point you end up looking at Batman and his family, the Bat family, for some reason or another. And you end up forming an opinion of some sort when it comes to which member of the family is worth your time and which member of the family is not worth your time when it comes to reading their books or watching their stories or even hearing about them in a battle. For example, my younger brothers, they hate the fuck out of Batman, but if you talk about Robin or Nightwing, they're not going to be mad, because they like Dick Grayson. So with that said, when you use a character from a comic book, especially if they're most exclusively and only known in a comic book, and you decide you're going to give them a breakout moment, you got to understand that comic stands, comic mains are going to, they're going to know what's going on. And comic mains and comic stands, especially the ones that feel like their character will never be represented in a movie. Like, my favorite characters never come into a movie. I just don't care. It'll never happen. And then boom, Cassandra Cain comes to a movie, right? That's my favorite Bat family member. To me, and I'm not just gonna sit here and blow hot air, okay? That's not what this is, this video. Well, that's not only what this is in this video. I got something to show you. I got something to show you guys. Today, while I was rummaging through things, okay, I found something. Now, comic stands, comic mains, however you want to call it, I'm not just some neckbeard that looks up and Googles stuff online. I actually have these. See, when I was younger, okay, maybe about 3rd, 4th grade, there was a corner store. There was a corner store called 3B, and they used to have comics just in packs, right? For $3, $4, or $5 packs of just comics. And sometimes, because you knew you were getting them for so cheap, you'd end up getting doubles of the same comic, right? Or sometimes you'll end up getting a comic without a cover on it at all. But at the age that I was at, I didn't really care, right? I was just I was just buying comics and reading them. I didn't give a fuck. Yeah, see, this is the one without the cover. It's a copy. It's the same damn story. But most of the DC stories didn't really keep my interest. I read through them, but most of them were forgettable. But I'll tell you one that wasn't forgettable. You want to know who we're talking about today? We finna talk about the Cassandra Cain that we could have had. This is the Batgirl that we should have gotten, but we'll no longer get. Like, we will never get this Batgirl, at least in this cinematic universe, if this even is a cinematic universe, because you know they bailed on that concept. But I continue to go on. These are the type of stories that I love to see Batgirl in, that I love to see any Bat family member in, because they always end up becoming coming into conflict with either their own morals or their own trauma. See, Cassandra Cain is a character, and I said what I said about her being the most capable Bat family member, because she has the ability to predict movements based on the fact that her father did not teach her how to talk. So he figured it was more efficient to not know how to talk, and then your eyes will be able to focus more on the movement of the body. So muscle memory, muscle movements and shit like that, right? She can predict what you're going to do by viewing your muscle movement. Literally a power. Not literally, but they've stated it as a power in the continuity. So, do with that what you will. She eventually does learn how to talk, right? But because of that, it takes down some of her skill. So she then has to train to get her skill back up to what it was. She has to train to get her skill back up to what it was before she learned how to talk. And I'm not going to sit here and cap right out, because I just said, like, I don't know everything about DC. And from what it looks like, this is the story where she had to tell this kid, see, these kids, starts off with these kids throwing rats in the air. And when they land, they die, obviously, they're rats. And they're like, oh, it's in a circle. You gotta, if it lands outside the circle, then you lose. Oh, I'm gonna get it. He throws another rat up and it doesn't come down. Instead, fucking Batgirl comes down. And they're like, oh shit, run away. So I don't know if you guys can see this well enough. I keep my video device in my necklace, or hanging from my necklace. And it gets to a point where he's the one kid that doesn't run away. He's like, hey, I need you to help my dad. He's been talking about money and shit like that. And I know that he's not a bad person. He just cares about money too much. So, just stop him before he does something bad. So you see him, or, you see people over here talking, the nervous guy with the blonde hair. Oh, I'm gonna just pay some bills with my money. And the black people said, oh shit, I'm going to the beach. All that. Nice dialogue for the blacks, by the way. And I'm not even being sarcastic here. It was decent dialogue, believable dialogue for black thugs doing petty crimes. So eventually, I'm sorry, I forgot to show you guys this before he left, because he gave her a paper, right? He gave her a paper to show her where she was supposed to go. He's like, this is where they went. And because this is Cassandra Cain, right? She's capable, but she's not fucking perfect. So if you look at her looking at this paper, nothing on this paper makes sense to her. She's like, okay, read this. You see him, he's like, you can't read? What the fuck? Like, what you mean you can't read? Like, you're a Bat member, right? Like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? But it just really highlights the type of story that we could have had with Cassandra if they decided to ever make Cassandra just any type of serious. Like, if they were to make her even a one shot or a side character in the Batgirl movie, like pop up at the end of the Batgirl credits and, you know, make a movie with Batgirls or something, anything. But these same people, and I want to get to this, these same people that are talking about, you know, if you don't fuck with us, you're sexist, racist, you know, homophobic, all of that stuff. Like, there's even this new term out called ableist. Now, like, they're shaming people for literally having the ability to do things because they feel like handicaps should have, you know, equal opportunity and equal shots at things, right? And I'm not gonna argue that back or forth or either or war or whatever, but I'm just saying right here that Cassandra Cain has a disability. And for the people who keep, you know, shaming people for being quote unquote